So when it comes to dynamic warm-up, not only are we able to effectively prepare someone for the demands and the rigors of their sport, but also the sequencing and progression that we use is very purposeful because it utilizes a lot of exercises that we would use in rehab, that we would use when trying to correct dysfunction or deficits. It's definitely recommended that this type of warm-up approach be done before any kind of workout, any kind of practice, any kind of game. If you dedicate 5 to 10 minutes at a minimum to this, you're going to see positive dividends on performance end as well as durability end of your athletes during their sessions. We work on stability first, and while we work on stability, we move you through a range of motion using that stability in a corrective fashion, slow and controlled. And then from there we would work into more dynamic movements involving bigger motions of the hip and the shoulders. And then from there we would go into more of the standard movement patterns such as a lunge or a squat. That progression of activation and mobility first, leading into controlled movement patterns in smaller ranges, and then bigger movement patterns in full ranges, is a really effective progression to prepare your body not only physically, but also neurologically to withstand the movements of sport. One style of warm-up we might use would involve 8 exercises. The first one would be a partner stability. So you're standing with good posture and good control. You're with a partner, you're holding your stick. The whole goal of this is to be a rock, to not let your partner move you while you're stabilizing the stick. So this is a good anti-rotation stability exercise. After that, we would go into some ground-based stability exercises, such as maybe a high plank into a beast. High plank is like a push-up position, and you're just gonna slowly walk your knees underneath you and then back out while keeping your table stable, like you got a bowl of cereal on your back, trying not to spill it. Then we might go into a side plank, and we're gonna add a reach in to not only improve lateral core stability, but also that reach makes you control through a bigger range of motion. After doing a side plank, then we would flip over and do something like a high bridge with a reach. High bridge with a reach would be a bridge pattern where you lift your hips up elevated off the ground, and then we add in a reach to get into a T position for trunk rotation. And this allows you to stabilize with your lower body while you move with your upper body. Now that we got the core firing and your body moving, we would then maybe go into a higher level range of motion for your shoulders, like a back scratch, where you're just simply alternating one hand over top, one hand underneath, getting your fists as close together as possible, alternating sides to work on shoulder and upper back range of motion. Then we would maybe go into a more higher level of the hip range of motion with a Frankenstein. So, trying to work on hip separation dynamically while being stable on one leg on the ground and not sacrificing posture, staying tall. And then after going that whole sequence of stability on the ground, small movements into bigger movements, then we're gonna go into some more complex movements, like an ankle pull with a hinge. So where you're standing on one leg, grab your ankle, using the stick for balance, and working into a hinge pattern where you're getting a hinge strengthening on one side and you're getting a quad stretch, hip flexor stretch on the other. And then maybe finishing off with a lunge matrix. Lunge matrix meaning you're going to lunge in multi-directional patterns. So maybe you're going to lunge backward, sideways, forward, and behind. You're doing a lunge to finish off your warm-up after doing all the components of a lunge leading up to it. One of the great things about this style of warm-up as well on the ground is you can do it in a small space. So in a 4x4 space per athlete, all these exercises can be done in place, and you can have a bunch of team members doing it all together in a small area, so that it allows you to get all of them taken care of without needing a lot of floor space, because we recognize that's at a premium a lot of times at the hockey rinks.